Yo, Saintsman here, small van driver on the CX. It's Sunday the 4th. I was looking at the diary. 4th of August. This is looking back on last week, week in the life of the CX driver. And good week again. Only 4-day week because of Bank Holiday Monday. I'm going to do it slightly different. Everyone who subscribes knows every job I normally do, I tell you how much I get for the job. I'm pretty transparent with that. I'd like to think. I know a lot of guys don't like doing it. I did have a phone call, I think it was Thursday, from a shipper who I won't name, but they don't subscribe to my channel, but they'd watched the video and I've done a couple of jobs for them and really nice. They're still, no problem. But they said if I do a job for them, even though I don't name any shippers at all, they wouldn't want the price to be told, which is fair enough. Got no problem with that. They said they'd rather not the price. They didn't really want the price for it. They didn't block me, and I think, in fact, they said, brilliant, because I've done 3 jobs in the last year for them. Not a massive shipper, but yeah. So, it's fair enough. And if they're watching it as well, there's other shippers. I know there's lots of other shippers who watch the channel. So what I decided I'm going to do is still tell you the jobs I do. And instead of giving you the individual prices, I'm just going to tell you what I've earned at the end of the week. So it's still telling you what I've earned, but it don't tell you what I've earned for each job, if that makes sense. I can understand it in a way. They if I'm doing a job for someone, even though I don't name the shipper, some people might put 2 and 2 together, see who I'm working for, think, oh, that's at the rate they pay. Oh, I don't know. But hey, yeah, it's sort of a strange one. But got no problem with the shipper, and she says, you did great work for us, and if you put prices on jobs for us again, we'll give you jobs. But they just didn't want the prices to be told. So quick way of saying that this is how I'm going to do the videos from now on. Prices on fuel. My fuel prices weren't brilliant last week. They'd gone slightly up. And I can get it cheaper. I know a lot of guys supermarket fuel. Oh, don't put that in your van. I've been putting supermarket fuel in my van since I started. Not all the time. If I can get UK fuels and it's branded, I'll use that if it's cheaper. But a lot of the time I put Tesco's, I put Morrison's, I put Asda, whatever. And don't see a problem. And at the moment, my fuel cards are not competitive. They're okay, but they're not competitive. And I got in touch with one of them and told them they're not competitive. And they dropped the price 5 pence this week. And I still don't think they're that competitive. I say this week for next week, starting tomorrow. But hey, let's get into it. Let's get into Tuesday. I didn't work Monday, obviously bank holiday. Tuesday I got a job booked in, and it was a long job again. Southampton, Exeter, the one I do quite regular. Whether it's going to continue, you don't think so. It is a long day, but I did Southampton, Exeter, Bristol, Cardiff, which I do quite regularly. It's the longest run I do in one hit for Chris. I can't do any longer, to be honest. It's 300 odd miles plus. And so it's about 320 miles, I think, something like that. And it's full on getting it done. But it's all good. I finished in Cardiff and it was about 3 o'clock. Probably 4 o'clock. No, 3 o'clock-ish. I'd finished in Cardiff. I started at 6, so 9 hours, and I had a couple of little breaks. And I thought, well, that's great. I'll finish in Cardiff. I can chill out. There weren't nothing going. So I got myself a sandwich. I go to the lake. If anyone's in Cardiff and you want to park, you want to tramp for the night, you want to put in Lambay Way, Lamby Way. It's a good spot. It's a big carp lake and there's parking. I think the restriction on the parking is 2 meters. So you'll get a transit custom and them sort, but nothing high roofed under it. But you can park there for the night, and there's fishermen there that they do night fishing, so there's people around as well, and it's just a nice spot. But that didn't happen. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was going to go into Cardiff itself. I thought, if I'm finished for the day, I'll go to Cardiff. And next to the ice hockey stadium, there's a swimming pool, public baths. I was going to use their facilities, have a swim, have a shower, and then I'd have parked in Lambie Way. But I didn't get that far because a job was popped up. Pick up at 5 o'clock at night, deliver to Nuneaton, which is good for me because Nuneaton's 40 miles from my house. So not only have I had a good day with the first job, I'd got a backload and agreed a price, and it was good for me, and it got me to Nuneaton, which then got me home. It was a long day. Don't get me wrong. I'd had a fair break between the Cardiff, picking up the Cardiff and getting to Cardiff. I'd had about 2 hours. So, but I ended up doing 15-hour day, but the money's good for that. And also, I had a phone call. Chris said, "I can do. You can do a job for me if you want tomorrow. It's Birmingham, Nottingham, and Leeds." And so I said, "Yep, that's great. No problem. I can do that," which I did. There was meant to be 2 Birmingham pickup drops, but there was only one because there was meant to be 8 boxes on the second drop, which it weren't 8 boxes. It was a full pallet, and I'd already got 20 or 30 boxes on the van. My van takes about 45 of these boxes, and we was going to end up with 38, and there's no way I was going to get them on, and they had to get another van in to do that drop. So I did the Birmingham, Nottingham, Leeds again at an early start. Well, early start up at 6, so it was early enough, and I got to Leeds. I've done these drops before. The bull ring is the first one. As long as you get in there before 8:30, get in, get out of Birmingham. It's still a bit of a faff. Nottingham City Centre is another one, but you're after the rush hour then, so it's not too bad. And then Leeds is okay. I'm normally getting out of there. And this is like on a Wednesday now. And I thought, I hope we get another job out of Leeds. And I'm quite prepared to go anywhere. Got no restrictions, could do whatever, north, south, don't matter to me. If I get one to going home, all the better. But I'm prepared to go anywhere. And a job popped up from Leeds, 4 miles from where I was, to Newport, South Wales. And it was Italian tiles to going down to Newport, which I got. I bid on it. I bid quite strong. I bid very strongly on it, thinking I probably wouldn't get it at that, and I did. So I was happy. But I knew I'd be night out in Newport, which is fine. Got no problem with South Wales. And it was really good money for the day. So Tuesday and Wednesday, cracking money. It was a pallet. The tiles were on a pallet. And they weighed about 150, 200 kilos. And they were for Italian restaurant in Newport. They're just refurbing it right in the under Cine World, really nice area. It's regenerating an area, Newport, near the estuary, and got there at 5:20 past 5 at night, and that was it. I got Alan with the pallet. That he knew he was having the pallet. The fitters were still there. They were doing this job the next morning, first thing, and so they took the pallet and everything, and it was great. So then I'm looking for park for night. I'm not even looking anymore. That's it. And I parked for night. There was 2 places. There was one right in Newport, and this is where you have to go to the park for nights. Don't take the word of someone who's put a word on it. It said, quiet street, very close to the centre, very quiet street, great for a night. Slept great. I thought that's ideal because I can park the van and wander into Newport and go and see what's going on around the estuary, around the old town, new town, and see if there's anything about. Yeah, I took the van there. It was right next to a little park, and there was a kids' football tournament on. And they got gazebos up. It was carnage. And it was going on. They're having a bit of a do after. I thought, there's no way I'm going to sleep here. I won't get to sleep here. Gone midnight, and they're out on the booze. So I went to my second park for night, which was just outside Newport on the M4, the other side of the M4. And it was an industrial estate I'd been to before, very small industrial estate. And they'd got a park for night, and it was very quiet. And just up the road was Morrison's. So I thought, well, I'll go to Morrison's. I thought the park for night's fine. I'll go to Morrison's just up the road out of Newport, and I'll get some food, sandwich and whatever, something to eat, because I didn't fancy hot food. Didn't fancy chips. Trying to keep the weight down. And there was a really good park, a little dead end bit, the other side of Morrison's, right out the way. McDonald's was just literally 400 yards down the road. So I grabbed a coffee, grabbed some Morrison's, and went and parked there instead. And had a cracking night's sleep. Had a really good night's sleep. I watched Netflix, I watched YouTube, watching some comedy stuff, and slept well. I was in my bed about 10:30. I spoke with Julie, and I didn't even get a sleeping bag. It was really warm, no problem at all. I woke up. I didn't wake up. I got woken up because at about 5:30, quarter to 6, I must have been coming around because I normally wake up then. A bloody bird landed on the roof of the van because I was under a tree, and I don't mean a sparrow. And the only thing I could think it was because I see it fly off the wings because it landed on my running rail right above my head, and it bounced up to cross the roof to the other running rail. Well, after I'd checked my underpants in case I'd shit myself because it fripped me to death, it was semi-light. It weren't light. It was semi-light, virtually dark. And I've got no bulkhead in my van. I just got the Saints flag down. So I lifted the Saints flag up as this thing flew off. And all I could describe it was it had to be an owl. So whether it was a barn owl, tawny, I don't know. But it had to be an owl. It was a bird of prey. But it, yeah, fripped me the living day, Jesus out of me. But apart from that, great night's sleep. And I was in Newport for Thursday. I've done 2 long days, got good money, really good money. And I just thought, right, just looking for something back near my way if I can get it. And there was a job on there for, oh, well, I went in the morning first thing to Mega Services. And again, thumbs up. The showers in Mega Services were spotless. You hand your key in, you get the key for the shower, you go in, and it was absolutely spotless. And what I like to see, they've got 2 showers there, and I went in mine, and as I come out, she was cleaning the other shower, finished cleaning the other shower, and she was, by the time I took the key back to WH Smith's and gone and got a coffee from McDonald's, she was cleaning my shower. So the improvement, I don't know, it's because of COVID, they seem to be, that's Lee Delamere Services now and Mega Services, and the showers have been great. So if you are tramping and you want a shower, I don't know where they are at night because a lot of lorry drivers get a shower before they go to bed and they just swill the face and off they go in the morning. I like to have a shower in the morning as well, so I'm fresh. So I had the shower and I got my coffee and it was 8:30. And I'm at Mega Services. I'm primed. I've got Bristol, Newport, Cardiff. I've got a good area. Chepstow, pretty good area. Avon, Melford, everywhere. I'm well placed. But a job popped up for a place called Dursley, which was nearly 30 miles away, and it's in Gloucestershire. It's not a very big place, but the job was to Bedford, which is really good for me, really good. Literally 15 miles from my house. And it was a small pallet, and it was a very small pallet. And it was going on the road into Bedford. I knew where it was, and it was a small pallet, weighed 60 kilos. And I quoted on the job. The 30 miles dead, I sort of binned that because if I'd have put that on the job, I don't think I'd have got it. But I thought, no, I'd rather go because that'll do me. I just want a nice, easier day. I've had 2 long days. They weren't too long on the Wednesday, to be honest. Going up to Leeds and down to Newport, it was only an 11-hour day. But obviously, I'm tramping as well. But I just thought, I just want an easier job. Got to Bedford, tipped it in Bedford, and before I tipped it in Bedford, there was a job on there, Milton Keynes to Northampton, and it was going 2 miles from my house. I quoted on it. I quoted big on it because I'd quoted near £2 a mile because I've got to go 15 miles to pick it up. And phone went straight away, and I got it. So I quoted what it was and got it. So happy about that. And it took me home. So that was a pretty good day. It wasn't massive, but I only did 180 miles in total. But that's fair enough. And I worked 6 hours max the whole day. So I didn't even do that. It was less than that, but we'll say 6 hours. And that got me to Friday. Friday, I'd already picked a job up Thursday for a shipper. When I got home, there was jobs on there, and there was 2 drops in London, West London, and it was to the HS2 sites, and I quoted big money on that as well because it's West London, it's Friday, and it was pick up at 7:30, which suited me. Again, earlier start, not too earlier, and I did that two drop offs, and it was literally one item for one, some meter thing that read lasers and all this, whatever. And the other one was a couple of bits extra. And West London, believe it or not, was not a problem. It was steady. The traffic was steady. Ruislip was the first drop, and the second one was not far from Park Royal, really, around that sort of side. Just south, just inside Park Royal. I've been there before, actually, so I knew, and they were great. The guys were great. So we did that. And then I'm just looking on Friday, let's get home. Let's get a job out of it. And anyone knows Friday in London is a pain in the ass. Everyone comes to London and everyone's looking to go home and everyone looking cheap. And there was nothing coming out of London. I was quoting and not getting. But there was a job on there and I'd parked up now. I was in by Wembley, round Park Royal, not far from the bottom of the M1. And a job popped up, Dunstable to Milton Keynes. And I put my mileage to get there, the mileage to do the job, and I quoted 75p for every mile. Now I've got 20 odd mile to go, and I got the job. Phone up, I said I'm 35 minutes away. They said it's no problem. You've got to be within an hour, and it's just one small jiffy bag to go to MK17, MK19, something like that. I said, yep. I thought that's great because the more I thought MK17, that's nearer me. And sure enough, it was Castlethorpe, which is a village. And I kid you not, it's about 10 miles from my house. So that was my Friday. I thought, brilliant. And there was another driver coming down, Anvil Dave, as he's known, Anvil Logistics. I'll give him a plug because he's desperate for subscribers. It's pitiful listening to him because he wants to catch up with all of us. He's a lovely bloke, Dave. I'm just jesting. But it's getting a bit like tear jerking. You're not begging for subscribers, but mate, pretty sad. But hey, great bloke. We had a chat. He was going to Milton Keynes, and I phoned him up. Had a chat with him. Said I'll meet you in Milton Keynes wherever you're going. I'll see if I can meet you. Well, he was in MK1, which is right at the centre. I'm going MK17. I got to MK17 Castlethorpe before he got to MK1, and a job popped up. I was going to phone him and say I'll come and meet you. We'll have a coffee. He's looking for a job back to Manchester. I'm done. But I wasn't. Because I come out of this little industrial estate in this village in Castlethorpe. It was on a farm. And a job popped up from Bedford, which I was 15 mile away, all through B roads, going to Wellingborough, which is 9 mile from my house, but the other side. I'm thinking, if I get this, I'm having a cracking day because I'm getting good pence per mile as I go. I won't say what I got for the jobs, but I got really good money, pence per mile on this job because I quoted for it and got it. So that's made my day a really good day. I had to bin Anvil Dave off, but when I phoned him up, he was in Matalan in Milton Keynes, and 5 minutes later, he got a job back up. He got a job up to Newcastle, a little box. So he'd done well. So nice one, mate. And I think he got a job home from Newcastle to Manchester. So I think he had a mega day Friday, which is great because nice to see people doing well. He's got a long wheelbase. And I got this job, Bedford. It wasn't Wellingborough, it was Earthlinborough. It was a kid's school, taking rolls of felt. They'll meet some fitters there. The school wasn't open to the children. They don't start back till Monday. So they'd got to finish off this job. And I did it. It took me about an hour. And then I was home. And I was home that day at 2:30. I started at 7 and I finished at 2:30. So I did 2 long days last week, Tuesday, Wednesday. I tramped Wednesday night and I did 2 short days. That's my week. And it's a good week. A good week for me. 4 days. I aimed for 1,000 a week on 5 days and I did 977 over 4 days. So 2 full days, 2 light days. So it's good money. I did 1,360 miles in total. And that comes out at nearly 74 pence every single mile. Dead miles, everything. Average 74. Now, if I just did the miles loaded and no dead miles, it'd be up near a 90, 95 pence. But you're going to have dead miles. It's just the nature of the job. Now, with VAT, that comes out 1,172.40. That's with a 20% VAT. I take off 9% of the gross, which is 105.52. And that makes that 1,067. So I've hit target on 4 days. So it's a good week. All good. Give the van a really good clean. Yes, it's Sunday today. Yesterday I give it a really good clean. It's running sweet. Having good luck with it. It's doing well. Thanks for all the advice. Last week's video was, do I upgrade or do different van? I've never had so many comments on, and it was helpful comments. Don't get me wrong. Every comment's helpful, saying this is what I think you might want to do. You wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to get this. And I try and answer everyone. At the moment, I am 50-50. My little Berlingo's running lovely. I've had the diesel particle filter done. I've had the timing belt changed. I've had the water pump changed. When you get the timing belt changed, they do that and that. Change all the fluids. I service it every 15,000, or it gets serviced, so it's well looked after. But it runs sweet. And touch wood, it does. But it's getting to a stage now. I've done 140 odd thousand in it. It's not going to be worth a lot of money if I keep it for 6 more months. It's losing value quite rapidly the higher the mileage, but what are you buying? I paid 8,500 for this van, and that was a year last March. So I've had it 18 months. There were no VAT involved then. I wasn't VAT registered, nor was he. He was a private seller. It might be worth £7,000 now, something like that. It's top of the range one. It's got aircon, it's got cruise, but it's doing a high mileage, so it's worth 7. If I keep it for another year and do another 70,000 on it, it'll be done 220,000, and it'll drop a lot. But if I keep it for that, I think I'll end up just running it into the ground. Just keep running it, because the residual second-hand value will drop dramatically. At the moment, I'd still get a bit of money for it, but I've looked at vans. Customs are really expensive, but they're really good. I know, Neil, you're having trouble with yours, but they are meant to be really reliable. I've chatted to 2 guys who've got the customs, but the customs are just, for me, they're in between. Yes, they get 2 pallets on and that, and they're really comfy to drive. But I just think they're a bit expensive for what I want it. I looked at Renault Traffic, long wheelbase, low roofed, and Vivaros, long wheelbase, and they're just not rocking my boat. So I've decided that I'll either keep the Citroen Berlingo, or the other choice I'm going to go for is a L2 Vauxhall Combo L2, because the dealership's up the road. Not only that, I had a combo before I had the Citroen, and the combos, yeah, they are quite expensive, but the L2, I like the look of them, and again, they got really good fuel economy. The engines are slightly improved on what I've got. I get between 55 and 60 60 per gallon, miles per gallon. If I'm really gentle with it, it goes up to about 61, 62. Now, the combo L2s and the L1s, if you drive them gingerly, which is, hopefully, you as an owner driver, you look after your van, they're going up to 65. Now, whether that's just bullshit talk, what the manufacturers are saying, or whether that's true, you can, if you really creep along, get them near a 70. And that appeals slightly to me. Also, the L2 is slightly long in the back. And I don't do mountains of tramping, but if the opportunity's there, I'll tramp to cut the dead miles out. Now, the L2 gives me that extra length. I do fit in mine because I haven't got a bulkhead. And I fit in it okay, no problem. So, the jury's out at the minute. Tall Man Small Van has got a courtesy combo for a week while his van's been repaired because some prat ran into him and it's been sorted. So he's got an L2 at the moment. So I'll be interested to see how he gets on with his and what his report is. He's gonna we'll have a chat. He's got his own channel, Tall Man Small Van. So you can check his YouTube channel out as well. I might as well plug everyone's. Neil at Neptune, he's got a channel. He's off the road at the moment. He's having a nightmare with vans, a Berlingo and a custom. I feel for you, mate. Freddie Fletcher, he's got a channel. That's James at Freddie Fletcher Limited. He's got a really good channel. He's a shipper and a driver. So he's another one. And there's Anvil Dave, Anvil Logistics. So I'll give everyone a quote. Oh, and Andy P. I can't think what his channel's called, but you'll find him. It's Andy P. He does one a month, and that's informative as well. I think that's everyone. There's obviously Van on the Run, and who's going through it, Big Beardy Pete, all the others, but the ones that I know. So I think I'm going to keep the Berlingo. I'm going to keep it for another couple of months. I'm working next week, Monday to Friday, 5 days. Touch wood. Hopefully everything is right. Then I've got a week off. We're going away to the Lake District to have a break, which will be really good for me, Julie. We're going away with neighbours, so we've booked a lodge. We're going to have a really restful week, and then it's full on for the rest of the year. Really, I've got nothing planned to have time off. And in the winter, it's harder to earn money in the winter than it is now because get this right, the nights stay lighter. It's lighter in the morning. They are dropping in, but once it gets to October, that clock changes for you are going to work in the dark and you're coming home in the dark. And it just seems a bit of a drag to get through October, November because the clocks are gone and it just seems like it's always dark and miserable. And it's a lot easier. It just seems a better attitude for working and it's more enthusiasm in the job because it's nice driving in t-shirts all the time. You ain't got to get out and it's chucking down the rain or -2. So we'll see. I think October, November will be deciding whether I upgrade to a newer van and chop this one in or keep this one. My inclination at the moment is to keep the Berlingo because I love it as well. So anyway, that's the week. Thanks for watching. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all making money. And I'll speak to you next week.